Hello and welcome to the Knit Girls. This is episode 289. I'm Laura, also known as Lala.
I'm Leslie,
To
also
think there for a second.
I'm Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les. It is Monday, February 22nd, 2016. We are on a little bit of a time schedule this week, so if we feel like we're rushing, sorry. Anyway, knitting. Would you like to go first, or would you like me to?
Sure, I
I'm at
can
the
go
beginning of a
first.
row, so I can go if you want.
Why don't you go because I forgot to put this in the show notes, so I'm going to add
Okay.
this. Go ahead and go.
So, I've been working a little bit on sock blank using Gail's Art Extreme Sock Blank. These are
Ooh, I love that one.
relatively new. She started them, I think, end of last year. I did about 4 or 5 inches of leg. Then I did a simple slip stitch heel flap. And then I wanted to try something different, so I'm doing ribbing on the gusset just to see if that makes any difference in the stretchability of when I put it on my feet. So we'll see. I'm
Oh,
just going to do
interesting.
ribbing until all the gusset decreases are done and then switch over to stockinette. So
Huh, that's an interesting thought.
we'll see. It may or may not make any difference whatsoever. But
Yeah.
so I'm still doing decreases on the gusset on both sides. This is, again, I said Gail's Art Sock Blank. I'm using very fancy stitch markers. These are string, yarn
It
strings.
works.
These are Haya Sharps, 2.25 millimeter, which is my standard sock size. And let's see, what else? I did, while we were recording our live podcast on Friday, which is now on YouTube.
Oh, good.
Yeah. It should be noted that the software that we use for this live podcast automatically uploads the entire thing. So it includes the first 10 minutes of me going, what the crap? Where is everybody? Why can't I see anything? How do we do? So it includes 10 minutes of us going, I don't know what I'm doing. So you can just skip that part if you want. The link for that is in the show notes at the bottom. So while we were recording that, I was downstairs without my sock blank. So I just picked up the closest project, and it ended up being Penny Cress, which is a pattern by
Oh,
Rachel
Coop
Coopy.
Knits.
A simple lace pattern sock, nothing fancy. And we were sent her yarn to review, and I've been
I've been
lax
super lax.
and haven't finished the sock. So I'm using. She sent us enough to do a pair of socks. This is only
Yeah.
one, and I can't remember the
It
colorway
comes
name.
in 50-gram balls.
hmm
I have a
And
lovely purple. That I'm gonna cast that on in March.
uh,
I'm gonna make a point of doing that.
so I've got probably another 2 inches of cuff to go before I start on the heel. It's very simple. It has a lace pattern, and I was able to do it while we were recording, so it's not too difficult. The yarn is very nice and smooth, and it's got a nice sheen. So I don't know why I put it down, but I did, and I forgot about it until we were recording. So that's living in a Fireflies bag by Amy Beth.
Cute.
And the last thing is the oh, here it is. The sheep. What is it called? Shoop the Sheep. This is
Shoop, shoop, shoop,
by
shoop,
Heidi
bada.
Bears. She does a lot of African flower motifed animals. She has some other patterns too, but I think the African flower animals are the most popular. I'm using two different yarns. One is the Loopy U Solid series in Oyster, which is this color. It's like a soft gray.
Oh, look at how much you've got left.
Oh no, that's not what so what I was doing was there are two options when you're creating this toy. You can crochet all the individual pieces and then seam it together, which I thought was kind of, if there's another option, why wouldn't I choose that other option? So what I was doing was the crochet together as you go, but the way that it's done, or the way that she has you do it, you're essentially joining it every third stitch as you sort of go around.
Uh-huh.
And I just didn't like the way it left little gaps. It was probably my nitpickiness making me crazy. But essentially, once I'd gotten all four legs and the entire like sides attached, I decided that I didn't like it, and so I ripped everything out.
Wait, you ripped out all the crochet or just where it
Well, I ripped
was?
out all of it where it had joined, and so if we take one of these as an example, when you're creating this, you've got the first round, the second round, both of those are gray. The third and the fourth round, no, the first round is gray. The second and third rounds are these colored rounds.
Yeah.
The fourth round is a really short one. It's a single crochet all the way around, and then the rest of this is a set of double crochets all around with a couple of extra stitches on each corner. And all of the double crochet all around had to be ripped out on all of them because that's part of where you join it together.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to fix all that, and I had to crochet all the rest of the little medallions or all these little pieces that I needed.
Uh-huh.
So right now I've got 14 hexagons. I've got how many pentagons? I think I've got 13 pentagons, however many it calls for. And
13 pentagons.
13 pentagons, right?
I think that's a show title right there.
Yeah, 13 pentagons. And then I've got one octagon, which is the belly of the beast.
The belly of the beast. The belly of the lamb.
Yeah, so that's this. That's what this one is. It's an octagon. And so now the only thing that's left are the solid colors ones that you make for the head, except I don't have enough yarn. So this was Solid Series from the Loopy U, and while they have a bunch of Solid Series in stock, they do not have that color. And I don't know when they're going to get it again because they order it, as a bulk order.
Yeah.
And so I went on Ravelry hoping. I emailed one or I PM'd one person because you can go through Ravelry stash. You can go through a yarn and then it'll tell you how many stashes it's in.
And then you can go by color.
Well, right. And the first ones that are always listed are always the ones that are for sale or trade.
Yeah.
But you can put in the colorway name. The first ones that'll pop up are the for sale or trade, and then it's everything else. Well, there was one for sale or trade, but it was being sold as mini skeins instead of as a whole skein, which was fine. That's what she wanted to do. It's her yarn. So I couldn't get that, but then there was one lady who had several skeins in her stash, and people that do this, I love you so much, because she had several skeins of it in her stash, but she'd used it on 2 or 3 projects, and so she updated that she had like 0.6 of a skein or something. I love people that do that. You just make me so happy. Because I don't, but I wish that I
Because
did.
neither of us would ever do that.
I admire you so much. So I PM'd one lady who had some left, but since it was a partial skein, that's all I need is like a third of a skein. And her name is Bronwyn, and she rescued me. So she's a viewer. So thank you, Bronwyn. So she's kindly sending that to me, and I hope I will finish in the next week or two. I'll finish this and have it done. I wanted to give this as a Mother's Day present. It would be nice to be able to like have it done ahead of time, so I'm not rushing.
Yes, so you might see it, Marilyn Sheep and Wool.
Yes, that would be awesome. So those are the things that I've been working on. I did not spin. I have not embroidered or cross stitched. I mostly spent the week avoiding life and reading. So now it's the Laura show for a while because Laura has been crafting her little butt off.
Well, I've been trying to get stuff done. So I have 2 current things on the needles, and then I forgot, like I have 2 total. I've forgotten about one, and then I picked it up, and I was like, oh yeah, I did cast this on. So this wee little thing is, and it looks way too small, but it's the size.
Yeah.
Well, and it's the size that it calls for. This is an owl sweater for Julia. The good news is if it is too small, it will fit
Her little
Alice.
sister.
Yeah. But I'm doing the 7 to 8-year-old size, and it is hold on, it's like 24 inches for the 7 to 8 year old size, but that seems like really small. 25 inches. So, I don't know. This is on a 24-inch needle and it is bunched a little bit. So, and I am getting gauged, so I'm pretty sure it's going to come out to be that 25. It is a thicker weight yarn. It's a bulky. This is Knit Picks Brava Chunky. Um, and so I worry a little bit about the ease, but I think it'll fit her quite lovely. She was wearing her hero this week, which made me super happy.
That was a really cute picture of her in the hero.
Yes, and Em sent me pictures, which I promptly sent to Leslie.
Yes.
As you do. And she posted one on Instagram today too. Um, so this is the first body chunk. It is a yoked sweater, the owlet. So it goes all the way up to the armpits. It calls for it to be 10 inches. My nieces are tall, like their father and their mother to some degree. No one in my family is short. So I am adding an extra 2 inches here and probably an extra inch, inch and a half on each of the sleeves. I have extra yarn for this one, so I have more than enough yarn. So I am going to go to 12 inches. Once I get it at 12 inches, I'm going to photograph it, and my owl will be at its 50% mark because this is for the owl. Because it's chunky weight, the ribbing is knit on size 9 needles, which is a little bit smaller than what they call for, but I do knit loose. And then the body of the sweater, the stockinette, is knit on size 10 needles. And I'm using some old Addies that were super crimped up. And you can tell they're old because they've got that gold cable.
Mm.
But they were like super crimped in their bag. So it's so funny. I can see where my gauge has changed. You can, especially on the wrong side, you can see where your gauge changes so easily.
You get a little gutter.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm full of gutters. So I have my 2 sides marked and I am just going to zip along. This is what I have left of the first ball. So hopefully I'll get through the first ball tonight. And the goal is 3 inches a day until it gets done. That's the goal for the sock too. So I don't know. Something's probably going to have to give, but meh. So that is for Julia Grace. The second thing that I'm working on are my socks for Desert Vista Dye Works Sock of the Month knit along. The first one is done except for the heel. This is Harold's Purple Crayon colorway. I'm knitting these on size 0 needles, cast on 14, increase until there are 30 on each side, and just zip up. And then I'm going to put in a true afterthought heel. I'm probably going to try something different with it. I might do just a garter stitch afterthought heel. I'm going to do something different, I think, if I have time. If it's like Sunday night and I have to put in heels, it's going to be tried and true afterthought heels.
Laura Neal has
that's
a couple
the first
of
one. The
interesting
second
afterthoughts
one's
that I want to try.
Yeah, she does. The second one is so far along. So it's like 6 rows in. I'm going to a PTO meeting tonight, so that's going with me. That's my sit and knit, so I should get a little bit done on that. And it is in my Sherlock's bag from Tangerine Designs. So those are the 2 things that I have in progress. I did finish 2 things.
Yay!
So the first thing that I finished, yay!
Yay!
I feel like there should be a party being thrown right now.
I'll put in some applause sounds right here.
Or we can do, never mind. When my school was very into Kegan for a while, which is a group work thing, but there's lots of positive reinforcement, and they do like the roller coaster where you're like,
Okay.
Anyway, instead of like applause and like snaps instead of claps. Anyway, see, there you go.
It's huge.
Oh my goodness, it's so huge. It's like a blanket and a hug rolled into one. This is the For Love of Spider shawl by Melanie Berg. It is ginormous. It is out of Sunshine Yarns MCN blend in the Spider Web and Charlotte colorway. Don't ask me which one's which because I cannot remember. It starts off with this very cool stockinette section with slip stitches, and I had the yarn go up the side, and that's what really killed me probably. I could have blocked it a lot larger, not that I wanted to really stretch it out, but the sides of my floats on the side, because I
Restricted
was
how
not
much it
very
was
good
stretched.
at yeah, well, and I wasn't very good at weaving them as I went, as evidenced by some large ones, but it doesn't bother. I know some people having it go up one side and makes it asymmetrical and it really bothers them, but luckily I don't have that. So luckily that doesn't bother me. And then it goes into this cool slip stitch section. And then at the bottom, there's a garter stitch section. So if I was to knit this again, I really, really like it. I would use yarn that's got a little bit more yardage. I think the yardage on this was under 400 yards. And while it says, you know, you just go to until you have this many grams left, the original has 9 repeats of this section. Mine has 8. It would have been, it's huge though, so I don't think it needs the 9th repeat. Um, and then I would have done size 5 needles here for the stockinette, size 6 needles here for the
Webbing.
webbing because that's all slip stitches to give it a little bit more flexibility. And then I would go down to 4s on the garter. The garter flares a little bit. It flares a lot. When you lay it flat, it's definitely got almost a ruffle to it. And you could easily, I didn't want to like bind off super tight because I was afraid that it wouldn't block like I needed it to. But I think going down to 4s would be a good thing of doing it. I also like this slip stitch pattern in the garter section
Yeah.
a little bit better than the one in the stockinette section. So sorry, Jess is calling me. Decline, and it pops up on the top of my computer now because I'm
Gosh,
super fond.
Jess, you're so inconsiderate.
Way to ruin everything, Jessica. Anyway, finished measurements. It was weird because it was like ringing through my computer.
Yeah, I could hear a buzz.
Yeah. Oh, that's my phone. I'll move that one over there. Anyway, I'll call her back on my way to PTO later. So it's huge. It is around 28 stitches deep and
Stitches or inches?
inches. Thank you. On the spine, and then another 80 some on the wingspan. It was blocked like a heart shape, so like this. I just put pins at the top using the Knitter's Pride pin sticks. I don't know what they're like
Knit
blockers, but
blockers.
they're basically pin sticks. They're little sticks that have a series of pins on them that give you a straight edge. And I used those at the top and did not, I just like kind of laid it flat down. I didn't stretch it out at all because I didn't want to lose the cool texture of the slip stitches. So it's huge. It's like a giant hug, and I like it a lot. It has been blocked, it's been washed, and it smells good. So that's always good. Because it did smell a wee bit of vinegar, the yarn did, which doesn't bother me at all. I like the smell of vinegar. I'm
Yeah,
such
as
a
long as it's not
nutter.
overpowering, it doesn't bother me either.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. And once I soaked it, and it did not bleed at all. Like I put in a color catcher just in case, because I've played that game
Oh yeah,
before.
I do a color catcher with everything now.
And it did not bleed. The second thing I finished was my little log cabin vest.
Aww.
This is a pattern by Cecilia Rose. Is that how you say her name?
Cerelia Rose.
Cerelia Rose. Thank you. It is a creative bug class. And I put on, remember when we bought these buttons?
In New York City. Yeah.
In New York City. I got 3 of them for something for Julia and never used them. And they just worked so perfect with this. Changes that I made. I used a hand spun. This is some gorgeous fiber dyed by Southern Cross. Fiber. It's David of Southern Cross, and it is in the puppy dog tails. I spun it as a 2-ply. So it really, I think it shows off the log cabin pattern pretty awesome. It's great use of hand spun. There was crochet. So my
loops.
craft all the things goal, one of them, yeah, for the top of the button band and the loops were crocheted. Um, I did a 3 needle bind off on this side because I was not going to seam that.
Mm-hmm.
I did seam the two other sides though. It's a little bit heavy, but it's a 1-year-old size. And I think I think I'm happy with the choice to do the vest versus a
Yeah.
sweater. I think it's super cute as a vest. I am tempted to like crochet around the armholes, but I think it looks okay. I think it does. Anyway,
When is it due for a gift?
it's for Jamie Pearl, and she already had her little boy.
Oh,
I need to see if you have an updated address for her.
yeah.
So, she just had a little baby boy 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
The original intent was I was gonna knit her a Steelers colored hat for him, but like in a newborn size, but that
Uh-huh.
didn't happen, so I might have to knit him. I want to get this to her though. This is what I do with baby presents. This is why they're always forever late, is I'm like, I should knit that and that and
Yeah.
that and that, and then it just multiplies to like crazy proportions. I might go get a cute little like Peter Rabbit book though from Books a Million and put that in there with it too. Because I do like giving books as presents. But yep, that's done as well. I do have another baby shower. Probably it's for my coworker who actually lives across the street, is having a little girl. And guess when she's due?
Your birthday.
Yes! On my
You wouldn't be
birthday.
excited about it otherwise.
I hope she comes on my birthday too. That would be super
But then you'd have
exciting.
to share your birthday.
That's okay. I'm willing to do that. I think her name's gonna be Jamie too. I don't know.
Hmm.
I think that's what I read. I'm a terrible coworker and just totally skimmed that email. Um, so that is it for me for finished objects. Spinning, I have gone a little bit crazy pants with. So I have two of the three bobbins of Into the World El Tremento on Falkland done. So can't remember. I think this is the yellow was the one that I finished this weekend. So I have one more of the third to go. It's spinning up lovely. So that's on the lunch. Everything I spun was on the lunchroom. But after spinning that thin for a while, because it is fairly thin, like it's getting pretty thin, which is good because it's going to be a 3-ply. After spinning that thin, I decided I wanted like a crazy project. Not crazy, but like a fun, fast.
Right.
So when I think fun and fast, I always think Joanna Spring. It's what I think. So I spun
Insert your
two
own
of.
joke here.
So I purchased an update she had a little while ago, two bats in the Winter Dawn colorway. They are BFL Cordale Falkland Merino, so nice fine to medium grade wool blend with silk noil. So silk noil is the scraps, the leftover bits of silk that is just kind of waste, and it adds a fun texture. So I pulled out my woolly wonder, which I never use, and I have two fun, and it's almost 6 ounces. It's 2 7/8 each one. So I'm excited to ply this. I'm waiting. Lendrum has sent, or Lendrum, Acreworks has sent me Lendrum bulky bobbin to test. I'm
Mm-hmm.
on their tester pool for basically everything because I have every wheel
Yeah, pretty
that
much.
Aiden tests. Someone I didn't have an Ashford Kiwi or a Maja Crafts or a pocket wheel, but all the rest of them I have. So I always sign up to be a tester, and so I wanted to spin up something that was more than 4 ounces. So when the jumbo bobbin comes, I can ply on there and really give good feedback. Along those same lines, I decided to spin some thick and thin slubs for art yarn. And you can kind of see it's kind of difficult because they're so it goes very thin
Mm-hmm.
and then it goes poofy fast.
Mm-hmm.
This is only like 1.5 ounces. I have
Wow.
another good bit to go. I might spin the rest on the regular jumbo bobbin that I have, so I can then compare it to the look how puffy it is. It's so cool. Um, to the regular to the Acreworks when it comes. But what this is it's thick and thin, and it's a little bit overspun because I'm going to apply it probably with some Volmiza, and it is going to become coils.
Hmm.
Yes. So out of this whole like 4 ounces, I'll probably get 10 yards. Because how you spin coils, when you normally apply, you have two strands and they're going together like this and they wrap around each other and they're happy and snug and you know, they
Relatively equal.
yeah, they're like that and they twist relatively equal. When you do coils, you still do that for the skinnier bits, but when you get to the thicker bits, you take them to the side and make a coil and then shove them up and then lock it on this side and then ply some more like a regular 2-ply and then do another coil. So I get to shove things and
Making
um,
coils is fun.
yeah,
It's a
I'm
pain in
excited.
the butt to some degree, in
Yeah.
my opinion, but it does give you really fun results.
Well, the thick and thin's just you use a short backward draw for that as well as a short forward draw and it was fun. And I did that whole bobbin in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, yeah, it goes fast, that's for sure.
So it'll be fun. Let me show y'all a picture of coils because I did pull one up to show my sister-in-law because she was like, "What nonsense are you up to tonight?" Because I'm filled with nonsense all the time. So that's what coils look like.
Hmm.
She didn't really ask me what nonsense I was up to. I was sharing my nonsense with her.
You were forcing your nonsense.
I was forcing my nonsense on others. Um, so I think that's it for spinning. That's got to be it.
I hope
There
that's
can't
it,
be
especially
more.
if you've got a timeline to meet.
Um,
So we're
so
skipping the question this week,
we are.
only because Laura's short on time. But we'll do another one next week.
Plus, I've been talking for forever, so I feel like we probably have enough.
You're such an attention hog.
Hmm.
So instead, well, not instead, but we're going to review the new Interpretations collection,
Yes, I'm
which
so
is
excited.
a collaboration between Joji Locatelli and Veera Valimaki.
Oh, we played this game before.
Yes. So this is the cover. And what they do in their interpretations, on this one specifically, they've taken 6 words, and each of them has designed a pattern around each of the words and what
Yeah,
the words mean to them. And then they meet up once a year where they take these photographs. And I assume
yeah.
plan for the next version of
I think it
interpretations.
very inspired from
Mm-hmm.
each other. Like it's a very inspirational process. So the first word is kind,
Mm-hmm.
and Hohi's first design is this gorgeous sweater. Can you see that at all? I dimmed my screen and now I can't see what I'm showing.
Yeah, no, you need to. It looks like a black screen. So this is kind.
I'll make Leslie show.
It is an oversized sort of shawl collar turtleneck, a really open turtleneck with split hem and a cable design up the front of the sweater. Um,
Better? No.
no, it
All
needs to
right,
be
I'm
very bright.
well, and I turn is it better now because I turned my screen completely off?
No, it's worse.
What is
You're
going
getting
on?
it too close to the
Okay.
screen. So light rain is varies in size from a finished bust size of 38 inches up to a finished bust size of 66 inches, keeping in mind that that measurement should include 8 inches of positive ease. I love when designers tell you about the ease and the fit. That makes me very happy. Some
Yep.
really good schematics about the size of your sleeves, the size of your
And
cowl neck.
everything has
Mm-hmm.
schematics. I like the fact that this has little thumb holes
Yes.
too, and the patterning continues down on the sleeve
I
as well.
love that. It's right above the ribbing for the cuff. That patterning, that sort of lace garter patterning is there, and I love it. Um,
And then there's a beanie by
looking ahead.
Veera.
Hmm.
It's really looks like it would take no time at all.
Yes. It's got three sizes from 17 to 21
Yep.
inches. Totally can't see it when you do that.
I'm just
Um,
gonna turn back on my brightness then because I'm
it's
not
a
going to.
solid color with a multicolor pom pom, which I think is a really fun
Yeah,
design element in there. And again, like I said, it's three sizes. It's a DK weight yarn, and it's knit very. I mean, it's showcased very clearly. You can see all the aspects of the hat. It does have a deeper ribbing than I've seen on most hats. It looks like it's
I like it.
like 3 to 4 inches of ribbing versus your standard two. So that's positive as well. Our
It would
next
be
word is
3 to 3.5 inches of ribbing.
okay. I
There
was
you
kind
go.
of close.
And it's knit through the back loop. It's a nice rib. The next word is curious.
Mm-hmm.
And Hohi has a gorgeous cowl
Yes, it's
called the
got
Peeping Cowl.
everything in it. It's
It
got
does.
stripes. It's got cabling. It's got lace. Um,
It would be a great project to work on as like a yarn store or a knit group
yeah, to showcase different yarns. I think that would be a
and
beautiful
different
idea.
textures for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It is 23 and a fourth inches tall
Tall and
and
26 inches
26 and a
around.
half
Mm-hmm.
round. So it's
Uh,
a good size.
yeah, and isn't she adorable? I
She
just
is
want to put her in
adorable.
my pocket. She's so
And there's some
adorable.
great pictures, great charts,
Yes.
very clear charts. And then Golden Hour by Vera is a gorgeous sweater. I like that it's got some color work on it, but it's not overwhelming. It has an open color. It goes from a 30 up to a 54 in sizes, and it says to choose a size with no ease to a small amount of positive ease.
Mm-hmm. Great schematics. I like that it's got color not only in the yoke, but it's also got color sort of around the bust line
Yep.
and around the hem and on the sleeve. So it's not just your standard color work yoke sweater. It's got a little bit extra.
Yep. I'd like one more picture from the front, like full front picture
And I
would be
like that it
nice.
shows you, because not every pattern does when they show you schematics. I like that it shows you, just looking at it, you can tell that there's waist shaping, decreases and
Mm-hmm.
increases. Just looking at the schematic, you can see that without reading the pattern, which I think, I mean, it gives you a realistic look at what the finished flat sweater is supposed to look like, and that's always appreciated.
The next word is free, and I think the breathing space sweater is my favorite piece in this book because it's so innovative yet classic at the same time. It has a striping sequence that goes kind of
It's
trying to
yeah, well, it's
it's kind of
parallel for a
biased.
moment,
Yeah.
and then it's skewed right around the bust line.
Yep.
So here, I'll show you, since Laura's thing is not behaving.
Fail.
So it's, yeah, the stripes are parallel up until around mid bust, and then it goes skewed off to the side.
And it's a
I really
great
love
way.
asymmetrical sweaters.
Hmm.
I think that they're quite lovely. I think depending on bust size, you would want to adjust where that stripe hits you. And
Yeah.
that may be addressed in the pattern. I have not read the pattern from start to finish, so I can't say that for sure.
And it's a top-down raglan, so it would be very easy to make adjustments.
Oh, yeah, because you try it on as you go, essentially.
Hmm.
So,
You
um,
can say, okay, I do want the stripes to stop right after my bust,
right.
or, you know,
There's also another lovely cabled sweater by Hohi. It's called the Let Go sweater. And this one is sort of a cabled swing sweater. It's sized from 30 inches up to 58 inches. It doesn't talk, recommended ease between 0 to 3 inches of ease. So here's the back of the sweater. It's sort of a simple striped, or not striped, I'm sorry, cabled,
cabled.
paneled sweater. And
Yep.
then you see the front where it's got sort of a little bit of a swing to it.
But it does form those vertical stripes that are very flattering.
Yes. So, yeah, so it's got a little bit of a bell shape in the front on the panels, which I think is
Mhm.
always, I like the way that that hangs on people. So I think it's a flattering look.
Next is aged, and it is another two sweaters. I really like this timeless Henley too. It's
Oh, that's
absolutely
yeah, that's one of my
gorgeous.
favorite patterns in the book is that timeless Henley.
Hmm.
So there's the heartfelt cardigan and the timeless Henley that go into this particular inspiration word. The timeless
So
Henley.
pretty.
It is so pretty. It goes from sizes 30.5 inches up to 56.5 inches. And it talks about the blocked size versus the unblocked size very clearly. I really like the lace mixed with that rib pattern above the
Hmm.
lace. I think I think that's flattering. And then to go very simple on the sleeves with stockinette, I think it's a smart idea.
Yep.
Um,
It's almost like the reverse of my Grace to some degree because the Grace has the lace up here
mm-hmm,
and then it's stockinette for the rest. So it's
yes,
almost the reverse of that. It's
and
really, really pretty.
it
It'll be a
is,
great
and
layering piece.
it's knit in fingering weight. So it's a fingering weight sweater that's pretty doable because it's got all that lace in it that'll help
Hmm.
stretch it out, or give you more knitting um, inches per square. That didn't
There
make
you
sense.
go.
It'll feel like you get more done than you actually did because the lace
Yes.
stretches.
It blocks out. Then there's heartfelt. I like heartfelt a lot. For me, I would make it a little bit longer,
Mm-hmm.
to hit a little bit below the hip. It's got a great lace panel that goes all the way around. It is sized using
The
the
width of your
back
back.
measurement.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Because it's got that lace panel. Like Laura mentioned, I would probably make it longer for myself, although I think it looks very nice on the model.
Yeah,
I think because of the model's shape and height and torso length, I think it looks nice on
I'm
her.
pretty sure that's Vera. Since he's the other model, I would assume that's
That
Vera.
could be very true. I've never met Vera, so I can't say for
Totally
sure.
making stuff up
Whoever it is
too.
adorable, but I do
There you
like
go.
that it's got that lace in the collar. I think that that's a nice little effect that it's got going there.
Yeah. The
And
next, I'm sorry, did you have something
I
else to
was
say
just going to
about?
say that this is also knit out of a fingering weight yarn. Both of those sweaters were.
Yep. The next word is significant, and there is a shawl pattern from Hohi that is ribbed, but it's got a really interesting shape called significant. And then there's like almost a pea jacket type inspired.
Yeah, like a peacoat
Yeah.
sweater. So this is the shawl by Hohi, and it, like Laura mentioned, it's a rib with one primary color and then a contrasting color on the
And
edge.
there's a nice schematic so you can see how it should be blocked. And it's got a bobble bind off, which I
Ooh,
think would be cool to change out if you're not a bobble fan, because Leslie is not a bobble
I am
fan.
not,
Maybe
but
change out for one with beads. Like a beaded bind off would be
well, I mean,
absolutely stunning on
it's
them.
different, and that's appreciated
Hmm.
because you get tired of the same old bind off. So this is, it's a very simple, but it's striking as well. And like Laura mentioned, there is a very clear schematic of what the finished item shape would look like. So it's shallow but wide.
Then we have Tidal Ground, which was it Tidal Ground? I might be making words up.
My tablet is trying to keep up
Yeah,
with me.
Tidal Ground,
Yes.
which is the pea coat inspired with pocketses, which I adore. Um, Very classic. I like the fact that in the photographs you can see but the side, so you can see how the pocket lays in the front.
Yeah, they are very generous with their photographs, which is always appreciated.
And then it's got I cords on the front, which is very cool. It is sized from a 31 up to a 50 with a small amount of positive ease. It's interesting to me that that's got a small amount of positive ease. It uses DK twist.
Mm-hmm.
It just looks like it's a heavier piece
Oh yeah,
in my
definitely.
mind.
Yeah.
But it's really not. That's a DK weight yarn,
Yeah,
so
but it is a knit at a pretty tight gauge. Well, maybe not tight, but
let's see. The gauge is
dense.
20 stitches.
5 stitches to the inch,
Yeah,
essentially.
I consider that more of a worsted gauge. So, but still, I would, looking at the pictures, I think chunky, and it's totally not chunky, but a great layering piece for sure. I do like knit jackets. The next word is whole.
Mm-hmm.
And I think this is really the style of sweater that Hohi first became
Yes.
known for.
Mm-hmm.
It's more of the circular style sweater. It's called whole.
Yes. And it's got, well, the sweater is called My Everything, and it's sort of
Oh, I'm
a
sorry. The word's whole.
circular with a swing bottom. It's got cables all around the edge, including the collar, and it's got
In the
cables
back.
down the center as well. Um, so it's more of a loose fitting, kind of comfortable cardigan,
Yeah.
but it's a very striking one. So this one is knit out of worsted, and it's sized from 30 inches up to 54 inches, but it's intended to be worn open, so she encourages you to measure along your back and then compare that to the schematic so that you get the size that you want. Um,
Gotcha.
Again, very clear schematics, including that collar and the swinginess of the front panels.
And then the last piece is a shawl by Vera called Be Kind. It reminds me of the shawls that she's become famous for, like line break, which I knit earlier,
Mm-hmm.
color affection. It's one single color, but it's that wide,
Yeah,
very wide,
garter stitch with a simple details in it.
with short rows.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
So this is three
Obviously.
skeins of Tosh Merino Light.
Yep, and it's a 102-inch wingspan by 16 at deepest
Right.
spot. So it's a large crescent
Mm-hmm.
that you can wrap around multiple times. And her directions for short rows are super easy to follow. That's definitely, I need to maybe out of hand spun.
And it's funny because I would never have picked this colorway out as something to purchase, but it works for this shawl.
Oh yeah,
It works.
definitely.
So, kudos to her for going with something besides like a solid or a semi-solid. You know, taking that risk, and it really paid off. It looks great.
So
So,
that is Interpretations, Volume 3
mm-hmm.
by Joji Locatelli and Veera Vakama.
Valimaki.
Thank you. It retails for €20, which right now at the conversion rate is around $22.62 US dollars. Um,
Around.
around. It changes. It could be totally different tomorrow, but it's €20. Thank you so much, Hohi and Vera, for sending that
Yes.
our
In
way.
the
That
interest
was
of
sent to
clarity, it was
us.
sent to us for review by Hohi. Um,
But it's a lovely collection,
it
and it's
is.
their third, and they're putting them in print as well. So you can also buy a print, or if there was just one pattern that you particularly cared for, you can buy them as single patterns as
I
well.
always appreciate when designers offer that option.
Yes, for sure. So what are you reading?
So I read a whole bunch last week, but already talked about those. I've been listening to the Paper Magician series so far. I don't know if there's plans for more, but there were 3 books. I've listened to all 3 of them. The free Kindle Unlimited allows for some audiobooks to be free as well, and they were
Mhm.
included in that. Right now, you can't. There's no way that I know of that you can search for books that include a free Audible, because that would be nice to be able to do that, but
Yeah.
I haven't figured out a way to do that yet. So I've listened to all three books in the series, the Paper Magician series. I read Beacon 23, which was initially put out as 5 separate installments by Hugh Howey, but it's also part of Kindle Unlimited. And it's a typical Hugh Howey. Half the time you're not completely certain what's happening. And then there's a twist, and then it ends, and you're still not completely sure about all the particulars. But it's entertaining. Hugh Howey has put out a lot of serials. His Silo series, the Sand series. There were a couple more. I can't remember off the top of my head. Generally speaking, I will try things that he puts out. This one was free to try because it was on
Yeah.
Kindle Unlimited, so And
Why
then
not?
I'm reading right now Form and Function, which is a book by Sarah King. She is a fantasy paranormal author, and I will read anything that she writes because she is just something about the way that she writes really talks to me. Um, so that's what I'm reading right now. It's free on Kindle Unlimited, but if I like it, and generally speaking I do with her books, I'll buy a copy for myself, because I like to support the authors that whose work I really
Yeah.
appreciate, even if I could get it for free. I am listening to, right now, Morning Star, which is the third in the Red Rising series. It is quite a change from the fantasy like that I've been reading because it is dark, but it's good. So I'm listening to that. Listen to it on the way home from work today. But that's pretty much what I've been listening to and reading. What about you?
I read a really good kids book today. I started actually on Friday or Thursday. I've been waiting for it to come out for a while, and then the place that I order my library books through had it back ordered, so I had to wait a little bit.
Hmm.
I almost bought it for myself, but then I would have bought it and just put it in the library. So
Yeah.
anyway, it is called Big Game by Stuart Gibbs. It is the third in his Fun Jungle series. I have liked every single one. There is Poached, which was about koalas, and one about a dead hippo, which is the first one. And now I cannot remember the name of it. I'll think of it in a second. If you have a child who really likes Diary of a Wimpy Kid and you are trying to get them to read something that it still has the humor, but these are also mysteries, they take place in a thing kind of like Disney World, but it's all animals and something is always happening. So, and it's in Texas. I do like that part, but I also, Stuart Gibbs at the back talks about conservation. Like this one was about a rhino and a plot to kill the rhinos in the park for their horns, which
Mm.
is a huge, serious issue and is
Yeah.
causing rhinos to actually be go extinct. And it also causes thousands of game wardens to be killed over the course of since they've been trying to
To stop the poaching.
preserve them. Yeah, stop the poaching. So it's a really, really good book. Very humorous. Space Case is also by him. Really, really good. That one takes place in outer space, and the sequel to that comes out the 1st of April. So I'll be getting that as well. But I like his stuff a lot. It's humorous. It's good mysteries. Like, oh, didn't see that really coming. And my kids love it. My sixth grade boys, especially. Like, it is my gateway drug from Diary of a Wimpy Kid to something a little bit more substantial. Not that there's anything wrong with Diary of a Wimpy Kid. I love Diary
No,
of a
but
Wimpy
there's only so
Kid.
many books in the series. I mean,
But there's, yeah, like nine, and that's it. So I try to encourage them. It's kind of like Goosebumps. Like, I have so many kids that love
mm,
Goosebumps, but I try to use like Mary Dawning Han as like the gateway drug to some other ones for Joan Lowry Nixon. Um, so that is it for me. I will be at String Theory in like 2 weeks, less than 2 weeks, which is super exciting. I'll be in Chicago teaching classes at the String Theory Yarn Shop. I'm teaching a drop spindle class, which I think is almost full, and then basically how to make your yarn work for your projects. And other things we have going on, we have two coupon codes. One is for 10% off the Gleaner products, and
yep.
that is linked in the show notes. And then Creative Bug also has a code in our show notes. We have a craft all the things knit along that is not knit along, it's a craft along
Yep.
of all the things. It is for new techniques, and that runs through March 31st. Next week, I will show you all the prizes that we have again because there's some awesome ones. Leslie's already said that we have the live show replay, and it is linked in the show notes. It was lots of fun. Thank you all so
Yes.
much for joining
It's so
us.
much more fun when people participate. So thank you for everyone
Yes.
for participating.
And Humberto apologizes for being a jerk. Not
No,
really,
not
but
at
he
all.
would if he cared. Um, Next week, we will have our drawing for our Patreon supporters. I
Hmm.
am probably going to spin something. I had something in mind actually for y'all. Oh, yeah. I have some gorgeous Southern Cross fiber in Desert and Bloom that I'm going to try to spin up. Isn't that pretty?
That is pretty.
It's a BFL, so. I'm excited about that. Hopefully I can get to it. If not, I'll show you the bobbins, and then after I apply it, I'll send it to the person. How about that? And Leslie will pick some yarn out of her stash. Our first international person got her postcard today. So
Oh,
that was cool. I'm sorry that it had Christmas stamps. I go to a very small post office, and international postcards, they have to go international letter rate, and there is a stamp for that, but we totally clean them out of all their stamps. Like every stamp, they only had 30 and they were Christmas, and we totally cleaned them out. So it was hilarious. And my guy at the post office always is like, "What are you sending out
yeah.
now? Who's this going to? What did they do to win this?" Like he gets very into he's like, "I'll have to check out your Patreon."
Yeah, I'm sure you will,
he's,
sir.
he's the nicest guy, and he's a Steelers fan. So we always discuss the Steelers when I go. All right. I have
So,
to be back at school in 10 minutes.
yes.
So I'm going to jet.
Final word of thanks to all of our Patreon supporters. We genuinely appreciate whether you donate $1 or $1,000 per show. Nobody's quite decided to do that yet, but if you did,
If you did, we might have to fly you to come visit us.
well, no, we come to you because my house is a
Yes.
disaster. Anyway, you guys have a lovely week, and we will talk to you again on Leap Day, maybe.
Ooh,
Yeah. So,
fancy. All
bye.
right. Bye, y'all.